IGT, baby.
What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Dream Outfit coming back to you with another video. So we gotta talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw, and man, based on my thumbnail, you can pretty much see what was the end of Raw was, and we're gonna get right into it when that time comes. But I definitely want to talk about what happened, throughout the show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we have Roman Reigns come out there to kick off Monday Night Raw. And, I pretty much was going to address what was going to go down for War Games. So before he could say anything, Cody Rhodes wastes no time. He come out there. Of course, the crowd singing his song, all of that stuff. So he gets into the ring and he proceeds to say that, when it comes down to all this going down, we at war. And brings up about, I want to know from you, like, what's in it for you, like, overall. So Roman proceeds to say, to tell you the truth, this been my war since the beginning of it. He said, you just got into this, like, you're new to it. Then he brings up about how they don't like each, you may not like me, I might not like you, but one thing we can say when it comes down to family, like, we take that personally. Like, we're ready to fight and all that stuff. And brings up that when you really look at this on your team, half of that is my family. They used to be on the bloodline. So he's saying that. He said, all right, with that being the case, welcome to my team. So Cody extends his hand. And Roman just standing there like he ain't accepting that. In comes CM Punk. So CM Punk comes out there and he gets in the ring and proceeds to say, when you really look at this from this aspect, like, we got a all-star team right here. Like, this team right here, is untouchable. But he also let Cody Rhodes know, listen, I know you got my word and my back when it comes down to this War Games match. Then he looks at Roman and says, I don't know if you got my word or whatever the case is. And brings up about how last year when he was in the situation, how he pretty much saved his life. Telling Roman that, and Roman saying, like, yeah, and then in the next 4 months, like, you ruined my life. Talking about, being stabbed in the back, blase, all of that stuff. So Punk brings up that, well, we all got to be on the same page, because if you decide to turn your back on me, then you're not going to just be hurting the team, but you're going to be hurting the Usos as well. Like, how would they feel about that, so to speak? So he mentioned that, then tells Cody, he said, you mentioned about being the quarterback. This is your team and all that. Like, I know you're the quarterback and all that stuff on SmackDown, but this ain't SmackDown. This ain't USA. This is Monday Night Raw. We're on Netflix, and I'm the champion and all that. So you can tell, like, egos are starting to, like, really factor in on what's going on. So Roman proceeds to say, listen, I don't care if you was captain or you was captain. Talking about Cody and Punk. He says, bottom line, we have one thing in common, and that we hate Paul Heyman and division. And he brings up and says, I hate division more than I hate you. So, and then I was done. Before he left out, he says, by the way, that title looked good on me. And it proceeds to leave out. So Punk is like, are you talking to me or are you talking to Cody? So he goes on and says, you should know by now, and walk off. So this is very interesting now because one day's for sure, 2 days for certain. Roman looking to get gold around his waist again, and I feel like he's putting Punk on notice that I'm coming for that World Heavyweight Championship. Which, in my opinion, I don't mind it. It will make it very, very interesting, so to speak. And as being honest right now, Roman's on Raw. Like, I know he's not solidified on one brand. Like, he can go wherever he wants. But, seeing how things is going right now, it looks like he's going to be certified on Monday Night Raw. If he decides to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. So there's that. So, later on, we cut backstage and you see the Usos. They pull up. Or actually, before I get into that, you see Paul Heyman and he pretty much talking to Logan Paul and Braun Breaker and them, and pretty much was explaining about what's going down because they have the tag team match in the main event against the Usos, and that would be it would determine who had the advantage going into War Games. So you had Paul Heyman trying to decide like who's gonna team up with Drew McIntyre and all that stuff. And Logan Paul, he's saying like, well, that's the case. Why don't we just get Brock Lesnar to do it? He said, and Paul stopped him like, yo, don't ever mention his name like that at all. And let it be known like when Brock gets here, his sole attention is on Roman Reigns. So now he had him looking around like, well, who's gonna be his partner? You see Logan bring up Braun Breaker. He said no, that ain't gonna be him. He said Bronson Reed. He said no. Then look, and when he realized that he was going to be Drew's opponent, he had to make it crystal clear. Like, all right, let's do it. So that would be our tag team match in the main event of the show. So we fast forward into it, and you had the Usos. They pulled up on Roman, Punk, Cody, and all that stuff. And he was bringing up, like, you see Jay brings up that, like, well, whoop-de-doo. Like, I see y'all, trying to figure out everything going on, blase. And it seems that y'all can't get on the same page. Meanwhile, we, being the tag teams, we got a big agenda for us, to win this match and to have advantage and going into War Games and all that. And we're saying, like, if we're going to win, we're all going to have to be on the same page and all that stuff. So that's how they was addressing the situation, so to speak. And you see Roman looks at Cody and Punk and says, "Yeah, I better fix this. We got any chance of winning? Yeah, I better get your shit together." So somehow, some way, it's going to play a focal point when we do get to Survivor Series. In this match, egos are going to play a huge role, throughout this whole matchup. So we'll talk more about it when I get to doing my prediction videos and whatnot. So there's that. So we also had some matches too. Still continuing with the John Cena My Time Is Now tour tournament, excuse me. And we had Gunther taking on Carmelo Hayes. And what I thought would be a squash match didn't happen. I'm happy like they were able to give Carmelo Hayes some offense throughout the match, and he was able to have some moments to really shine. And I'm happy that he was able to get those type of moments. But you knew for a fact that Gunther was gonna pack his ass up. Everybody could see that. And Gunther didn't waste no time, and he finished him off with a powerbomb, cover him for the 1, 2, 3, and now he moves on to, I believe, the semifinals, and he's gonna be taking on LA Knight and a mystery opponent. So out of LA Knight and that mystery opponent, he's gonna be facing them, next. So there's that. We also have to talk about Penta taking on Solo. And as the match going on, they went to commercial. Um, we cut back and it's just Solo in the ring, and Penta, he's getting medical attention because apparently he dislocated his shoulder. So he was trying to probably do a move off the barricade, and it looked like a hurricanrana or something like that. And he landed awkwardly and pretty much dislocated his shoulder. So when the ref pulled the X, it was over from that point, and he couldn't compete. So, at that moment there, they had to call audible because let's call it what it is. Penta was supposed to win that match, and then go on to face, what's his name? Why is his name is escaping me? Yeah, it's escaping me. But they're supposed to face somebody in the next round. However, with that being an injury and him not being able to finish competing, now we're gonna get Solo, who's gonna move on now. And that next matchup ain't gonna make no fucking sense whatsoever. Like, none at all. So I want to see how that whole thing turn out. I think there's gonna be some interference and all that that's gonna cause Solo, that match. But that remains to be seen. But I pray that Penta is okay. I pray for a speedy recovery and all that. And hopefully it's not too, difficult in the sense of he has to get surgery. So we'll see how things turns out and all that. But I pray that he be okay and all. Then I want to talk about this women's War Games match, because I feel like the build was so weak, and it's just, I feel like we just ran a course with it, So you had Becky Lynch come out there with Lash Legend, Nia Jax, the Kabuki Warriors and stuff like that, and Becky just going yapping, saying little to nothing, and claiming that this is her team when she just got into it last minute. So she went on doing her yapping and stuff, and then you see Rhea Ripley come out, then Io, then Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, and then AJ Lee. So they all gets into the ring. AJ, was talking about Becky Lynch, and was saying that she needed to go to therapy and all that stuff and do some healing. So all of those things, and brings up about they match at War Games. Like, to be honest with you, like, you was always gonna be a thorn on my side, and I had to pretty much handle business when it comes towards you, and I still got that same feeling. And brings up about now being locked up in the cage, like, this is an advantage for me because I can do whatever the hell I want when I want, and can nobody stop me. So as that happened, she passed Rhea the mic, saying that, you got anything you want to say? When Rhea ain't waste no time, his Nia Jax in the head with the microphone, and it was an all-out brawl. And I thought that was very interesting to see, and all that, despite the weak build and all those other things. And you see the baby faces standing tall and all that other stuff. So going into this match is going to be entertaining, but I feel like I said, the build up for it was lackluster. And you really had not much to really build up on. Like, you're just taking storylines from different people and just putting it all on one match with each other. So I think as we move forward, just put War Games to rest for the time being. Just put it to rest. We don't have to be a every year thing, because now it's starting to really get stale and redundant. It was the same way it was last year and the year before that. But I feel like sometimes when it comes down to the men, they always deliver in that standpoint as usual. Not to say the woman does either, but I just feel like the builds for the women's and all that Even the men here and there, it just becomes very redundant. It's like, you know what, just put it to rest for the time being. Let it rest for a bit, and then come back to it when the time comes. So there's that. So let's fast forward to the main event. So we had the Usos taking on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre, and as the match was going on, like it was alright, nothing too crazy and whatnot. So of course, the Usos had an advantage here and there, hitting those super kicks and stuff like that, and Logan and Drew McIntyre had opportunities to capitalize. So it was pretty much a back and forth thing, and you knew interference was going to play a focal point in this. And that definitely happened when Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed come out there to help out Logan Paul and stuff like that. So, as a number game starting to play a role, in comes Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. So they even the odds, and they took care of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and all that stuff. And as it's happening, this is when the Usos was taking advantage of it. So you had Jay go out there and hit a suicide dive onto everybody outside of the ring and all that, and Jimmy's still in the ring. Meanwhile, Logan Paul takes advantage of that and ended up rolling up Jimmy for the 1, the 2, and the 3, and now they have fair advantage, going into War Games and all that stuff. And this is when the whole brawl started to kick in and stuff. So as it's happening, you knew Roman Reigns was coming. So as he comes out there and he's just smooth walking, not even running, and instantly, once he see Braun Breaker Superman punch him, and he also Superman punch Bronson Reed, gets into the ring in a Superman punching Logan Paul, then Superman punch Drew McIntyre and stuff like that. So they pretty much, like I said, they're standing tall, all that stuff. You got everybody in the ring, and you see the Vision retreating. End credits rolls up, so we like, okay, Brock's gonna appear somewhere, like, because we saw him show up earlier in the show. So when the credits stop rolling, you hear Brock Lesnar music, and shit was about to get real. So he comes out there, and when he does his entrance after he finished doing the pyro goes off, he busts his ass. And that had to be the most hilarious thing, because I don't know if it was slippery over there when he slipped, but that shit was so funny. And he played it off as if like, hold on, I ain't gonna try to like, get me that quick. So he recovered quickly, and he passed his hat on to Braun Breaker, puts his hat on Braun Breaker and stuff like that, and proceeded to walk down the ramp. Now, he had a little smirk on his face because he's like, y'all got me and all that, but it's time to lock in. So, as it's happening, nice to everybody, and all 5 minutes there, and we're like, you know what? Let's get it on. So, they get on top of the ropes and go inside the ring, and then they start brawling. Like, it was a full-out assault, so to speak, on all men. They was really going at it, but that's when they shut Raw off after that. So we pretty much going to get some exclusive footage, whether somebody's either recording it or we're going to get it from WWE itself. But one way or another, this was a solid show. Now, truth be told, I wish last week was the go-home show for this week, because it made a whole lot of sense. Because we didn't expect Roman Reigns, let alone Brock Lesnar, to be a part of the War Games match. And you should have let that be the surprise, and that would have gave it, that oomph to like, okay, we know it was going to be good, but now you add this to the mix and all that. And, with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns being on, opposite teams, will make shit interesting, because this is a very good lineup on both sides. So that's still my point behind that, but it is what it is. So comment down below, let me know what you think about Monday Night Raw. What was your favorite parts of the show? Are you ready for Survivor Series this Saturday? I'm gonna go live for it and all that. So be on the lookout for that. I think it starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll make sure again, but y'all make sure y'all tune into the live and whatnot. It's gonna be very good. I'm looking forward to it and all that stuff. And I'm gonna be doing my prediction video for Survivor Series War Games, so also be on the lookout for that one, as well. So yeah, as always, man, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop content right here on this channel. And I appreciate y'all love and support. Road to 200 subscribers. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do at life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.